Hi everybody, it's Julia, your trusted travel expert from Matheson Travel, and I wanted to talk to you this week about credit cards and international travel and what you should use. To be honest, you really only need, in this day and age, two items, and some of them, it could actually be one depending on your bank and your thing. And you want a debit card and you want a credit card. Now, almost all credit cards now in the States have the chips installed in them. I know that my ATM card just got renewed automatically, and that's because America is actually way behind. In Europe, they've been using these, what they call chip and pin cards, for ages, and it's much more safe and secure. But just so you know, when you're using your credit card abroad, even if it does have the pin and you slide it in the machine, a lot of times American cards will still have to sign their bill, rather than in Europe, European cards, they just stick it in and do a little pin. So that's what you need to know. Now, you want to use these things for different purposes, right? The ATM card, for your bank card, or your, where your liquid is, your cash, you really only want to use this for getting money out, getting cash out at the ATM. You really don't want to use this like when you're checking into a hotel, especially because since it's a debit card, they will take a large amount of cash as a debit, and it's only a hold. They'll refund it back to you, but a lot of times like a $500 debit on your debit account will raise a red flag, or it is just a lot more cash than you want to have taken out and then later put back in, because sometimes the putting back in part can take a little while. So you really don't want to use your debit card for things like checking in hotels. That you want to use your credit card. Now, you also, the second thing you really want to think about with what cards you want to use when you're abroad is the fees. Like, for example, my ATM card, I have a pretty hefty fee every time I use an ATM that's not my actual bank's ATM, and that's not ideal. And actually, I probably should shop around and get a different bank account that doesn't have a $5 fee, but I just plan accordingly. I know that each time I get cash out, it's going to be $5, so I try and only get cash out really infrequently. I really try and plan my cash use when I'm abroad really smartly. The other thing, I love this card. It's a Chase Sapphire Preferred card, and it's a really great travel credit card because there are 0 international fees. And what that means is every time you do a transaction abroad, internationally, a lot of credit card companies will charge you something like 3% or something like that. This one, and there are a few other ones, this is not the only one, this one does not charge you any fee. So it's a great one to use. The other thing I love about this card is the points. I get double points on basically everything I do, especially travel and restaurants. And I eat out a lot, so that works a lot for me. And I really want you to make sure that you pay attention to your rewards points and actually try and use them. Because I know that for me personally this year, I've gotten several flights for free using my reward points. So don't forget to use that and really look into a card like the Chase Sapphire Preferred, where you have no international fees on international transactions, and you get good points for things like travel and dining out and shopping, whatever it is that you happen to do. Now, the last thing to think about when you're thinking about using credit cards abroad is a lot of times now they'll ask you, oh, do you want this in charged in US dollars or the local currency, whatever the local currency is wherever you are. And I have fallen prey to just saying, oh, okay, great, do it in US dollars, thinking that'd be easy. Well, especially if you have a card like this that doesn't have international transaction, that is the worst thing to do, because you actually will get a worse fee, a worse, what am I trying to say? Exchange rate, there you go. You'll get a worse exchange rate, but they also apparently charge a fee to do the exchange right there, on the spot. So you always want to just do your charge in the local currency and don't worry about international fees. So that's it for this week. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.